episode 557 of Good Luck High Five.
That's right. You're listening to a podcast that's for you if you play Magic the Gathering. Whether you were at MagicCON Vegas or you were wishing you were at MagicCON Vegas, we are here for you.
I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
I'm another one of your hosts, Megan.
And we are going to catch you up on all of the action from MagicCON Vegas on this episode because our butts are hot off a plane.
Yes.
Really, well, I should say cold off a plane. It's pretty cold on
planes.
planes.
Pretty chilly on planes.
Yeah.
You know what? There was a while where when I was flying, and I would realize my feet getting so cold.
Oh, it's happened to me before. For a little ice feet.
Yes, I had ice feet every time. And I haven't recently had ice feet on a plane, so that's been a substantial improvement.
I started wearing compression socks on a plane because I was getting little puff feet.
How do they make you feel?
Very old.
Well, I meant how did they make your body and your feet feel, but I think that we got to the heart of it.
Mostly very old, but also they do work. They do, as advertised. My feet don't puff them up.
They compress.
Oh my God. We came back in last night and we're here with you this morning recording hot off the presses about what happened at MagicCON. It was a great con, and there was also the World Championship that we were working at.
Yeah.
So we're going to let you know what happened in the World Championship too.
I still have a sinus infection from traveling.
Gross.
Or just being there. I don't know which one gave it to me. Was it the substandard experience of being on a plane or the substandard experience of the city of Las Vegas?
I mean, could be anything.
Yeah.
Could be anything. Although we had a true Las Vegas experience this time. We went to Meow Wolf.
It was very fun.
Omega Mart, which was great.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it on our list of Maria and Meghan recommend this experience in Vegas.
You know, there's not
it's a short list.
It's a short list.
But that is on it.
That's
it was
certainly
great.
On it. It was
made me want to go to all the Meow Wolves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it also makes me think that you should work at a Meow Wolf. You know, because I mean, it's already in your name.
It's already in my name.
And I don't know. It's just, gosh, wouldn't it be so fun to work on one of those things?
Yeah.
You can design like the craziest, most wonderful, like immersive environments and any kind of weird story you want.
Yeah.
I think that'd be very cool. Awesome.
We know someone who's worked on a Meow Wolf.
Yes, we do.
Which is pretty cool.
We also met a lot of people who came up and said hi to us. So thank you. If you said hi, gave us a high five, asked for a photo.
Especially if you're one of the many people that I tried to say hi to while running. Basically between things I was supposed to be doing. I'm very sorry.
That's the true
Thank
experience.
you for saying hi. Sorry that I had to run somewhere.
I said hi to our oldest fan, by the way. Yes, Rick was there.
Like our longest time fan.
Yes, not oldest.
Wow.
That I don't know.
That's a roast just for you, Rick.
I don't know who is our oldest fan.
Wow, if you think it might be you, please let us know.
I want to know who
I very much want to know who the oldest fan is.
Because I'm pretty
self-identified.
You can't nominate someone else.
No, you have to nominate yourself.
You have to be the old nominating the old.
I was going to say, so I ran past people multiple times because I on multiple occasions had the experience where I was looking for like the top 8 or the top 32 of like Secret Lair and the 100K Limited Open.
Yeah.
And so I would go all the way. I would have to go. We were at the back of the second floor.
There's 2 floors to this, everybody.
Floors. I would have to walk all the way through the second floor, downstairs, and then tournaments was at the back of the first floor. So I'd walk all the way through.
You got your steps
to the back of the first floor, and then I'd be like, "Can you tell me where they're holding this?" And they'd look at their computer, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's upstairs."
That's back where you came from.
So I'd go right back upstairs. Happened to me twice. Anyways,
it was fantastic. There was so much cool stuff. We'll get into it more in a little bit. But before we kick off the show, we've got to kick off some heartfelt thanks.
Yes, thank you so much to the people who support this show and make it happen by being patrons over at patreon.com/GLHF Magic.
I love everyone who came up and told us that they were patrons. Yes, please throw it in our face. We want to know.
We want to know.
So thank you.
Throw it in our face.
I'm a patron. I'm really cool. The answer is yes, you are. And thank you for being a patron. Yes. We love to hear it every single time. We love to welcome our new friends. Yeah. You get access to our great Good Luck High Five Discord if you're a patron for as little as $1 a month. Mm-hmm. You can't buy anything for that, literally, in 2023. Nothing is that cheap except our show.
And then Arizona iced tea.
Is it still $1?
I think so.
Wow.
I know. So
inflation proof.
Go and get an Arizona iced tea and listen to to this podcast. We have a new patron.
Yay.
Thank you so much to Alex.
Alex. Oh, I just hit my microphone. I was so excited.
Let's give you a round of applause.
Oh, I already was. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Alex, thank you so much for being a new partner for family. If you want a shout out just like Alex, head on over to patreon.com/GLHF Magic. We also want to say thank you to Card Kingdom.
Yes, cardkingdom.com/GLHF, the place to go.
You can pre-order Doctor Who there now, by the way.
Oh, you can pre-order Doctor Who.
You can get it. It's 4 different commander decks, pre-con commander decks, which is really fun because they do the hard work for you. And then you can customize to your heart's content. And if you're a Doctor Who fan like we are, you might find something that you truly love in any of these 4 commander decks. There was a TARDIS at the MagicCon.
Oh, yeah.
And I went down and I took a picture in front of it and I got a free TARDIS card. It was very cool. And they're like, don't touch the doors.
Wow.
And I was like, I really want to touch those doors now that you told me not to do it.
Really want to touch the doors.
But it was so cool. And somebody there was cosplaying as Jodie's doctor, which was very neat.
Aw, that's great.
So if you are interested in that, you can pre-order them right now, cardkingdom.com/GLHF.
All right, Maria, it is time for the randomizer.
Let's go to scryfall.com, hit the random card button, try and guess what the card does just by the art alone.
All right, here you go.
How do we always find such weird ones?
There's some really weird magic art out there.
Okay, I'm going to describe this for you. I don't know if I can, honestly. I said I was going to, but now I'm second guessing myself. There's a giant wall. It looks like the Great Wall of China or some such with like glyphs along the top of it. And and in this wall is like the image of like some kind of weird tree beast but it's like a gray white tree beast that's trying to get out of the wall. Is it a portal? Is the wall a portal? I'm not sure. There's a tree beast situation. And in the foreground, there is somebody who is, dressed like your average mage, short blonde hair with a magnifying glass and a comb that's like falling out of their hand.
I would guess that they're like archaeology. This thing.
I was like, why are they brushing their hair?
It's like a little archaeology brush.
Okay, so they archaeologied this
That's
wall,
my guess.
and they found that inside was monster.
Yeah, that is, I think, how I would summarize the scene that you're looking at.
I would have not. I don't know if I would have gone to archaeologist. That looks like a toothbrush. I guess they do use that. So there's also a book in the right-hand corner that has some mysterious language written on it that they're probably using to find this monster wall. And they're very surprised. They're shocked at what they found. But to be fair, they're going to be in the history
It's like a pretty
book.
spooky monster.
Then it is scary. It has no nose. It's all mouth, eyes, and then like it's gone bald except for just around the bottom. So like the clown haircut, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're rocking the clown cut.
We all know what the clown haircut is.
I don't know how
Actually,
to say
I think that there's several, but we know which one this one is.
How else would you describe that haircut?
It's
only mullet.
It's a
only the party in the back.
Only the party, none of the business.
What on earth is this card? This has got to be something so strange. It's a white card. It's called Surprising Find.
Oh, I like that name a lot.
I feel like that's got to be the name of a card. And what does it do? If you're looking for something and you find it in white, maybe you get to, maybe this is not a white ability. You get to look through your opponent's deck, hand, and graveyard and find any card that is 4 power or greater and exile it.
Wow. All right. That's so it's not. Is it a sorcery?
I guess so. It's a sorcery, even though that looks more like a creature, but I don't know what on earth it would be doing. Why is it doing that?
Wow. You know what?
Don't say I'm close.
You're fairly wrong, but also kind of close.
Oh, okay.
This is Wall of Distortion.
Oh, all right. So sure.
It is 2 black for a 1/3 creature wall.
Black?
Yeah. It has 2 black tap. Target player discards a card from their hand. Play this ability only as a sorcery. Activate only as a sorcery.
So I'm making them discard.
Yeah, target player discards a card. Activate only as a sorcery.
And it costs 4 to activate that?
3.
3?
Yeah.
Oh, Well, I would never. Black would have been maybe amongst the last colors, I guess, that this card was based on that art.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like I said, Monster in the Portal is spooky.
What set is this from?
This is from Mercadian Masks.
Classic Mercadian Masks.
Yes.
Wow.
I know.
It's really interesting.
It's a very bizarre card, actually.
Did you know some people who work at Wizards didn't like walls?
Go on.
I feel this was like in a Mark Rosewater article recently or something, which is why I'm saying it. Like, I feel like, yes, it was. It was a Tumblr post because he was like, I came to work at Wizards and I didn't like walls. I thought walls was like not okay. We're playing with creatures. We're playing with sorceries and magic. The wall doesn't make any sense.
He's not wrong in that context.
And so he was really like trying to do away with walls.
Yeah.
And as many open office plans have done since, ahead of his time. But then he realized, like, wait, there's people who like walls. And just because I don't like walls and I think they're dumb and don't make any sense doesn't mean that I should delete them from the game, because other people have a right to enjoy things too.
That's nice.
Yeah.
What a great learning moment.
Yeah, he was teaching people about, like, hey, not everything has to be for you.
Yeah.
And his hatred
Including
of walls. Which I just thought was so funny.
They're not for me.
You know, I never thought about it. Like, I had never thought about it that way. I just thought, like, that's a wall. But when he laid out his case, like, what are you doing? You're just building a wall. Anyway, here's your art.
Oh my goodness.
Look at this friend.
This art is sick.
It's very good.
It's very good. I'm going to say that I am looking through the glass of an aquarium that is cracking.
Yes.
And water is starting to come through it. And when this aquarium cracks, I'm going to be in very big trouble, because on the other side of it, there is a massive shark who want to bite.
Oh yeah, he hungry. That's a Meg right there.
Yes, it is.
Meg too.
Mouth wide open. And then behind that shark is like a giant octopus that is also trying to get me and or the shark.
Yeah.
And they kind of have like some cool like pink and green like lights on them.
What do you think this card does?
Looks very cool. Oh my goodness.
I guess I'll ask you what it's named first.
This card is named Underwater Rager.
Yeah, that's great. I would go to that party.
Yep, absolutely. Underwater Rager. And gosh, I'm having a really hard time like thinking of what I think it does.
What if I gave you a clue? And I'm just going to tell you, even though
Hold on, I want to come up with something really weird on my own.
Let's go.
Underwater Rager is 1 and a blue for an artifact. And it has 2 and a blue, tap and sacrifice it to return all non-land permanents to their owner's hands.
Wow, great guess. I was going to give you the clue that this is from an unset.
Oh.
But whatever. It's not very if you ask me.
Yeah.
Anyway, Astraquarium, 2 and a blue for an artifact.
Wow, I got there with artifact.
How you thought this was an artifact, I have no idea. I would have never guessed that.
Something about the aquarium glass.
Yeah. When Astraquarium enters the battlefield, you may put an art sticker on it. 1 tap. Until end of turn, target creature becomes a blue shark with base power and toughness 4/4. If the cracks in Astraquarium's art are completely covered, that creature becomes a blue octopus with base power and toughness 8/8 instead. Activate
That's
only
right.
the sorcery. Now,
I
do you remember this card?
Yes.
Yeah. It's hard to remember when you just see the art.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, this was a very cool card.
Very cool.
I love like covering up the cracks with the stickers in this art too. Innovative. Astraquarium.
Love it.
Well, cats and kittens, let's go over what happened in Vegas. I know what happens is supposed to stay there, but guess what?
We're bringing it home.
You can't legally enforce that on me.
Bringing it home.
So the con was great. It was huge. It was 2 floors of everything you could imagine. There was the 100K limited open, which was the first time anything like that has ever occurred, and was reminiscent of a Grand Prix, which Meg and I sadly miss, and I think a lot of people do too. Down on the first floor that had 1,500 people participating in it, which is very, very cool.
Yeah.
And then there was also the Secret Lair Showdown for the 4th copy of Brainstorm. There's only 4 that exist in the world of this Brainstorm, by the way.
Yep.
That was happening.
The 4th one.
Upstairs, the World Championship was happening upstairs. There's game nights that happened on the 2nd floor.
Which more DJ Frodo.
DJ Frodo was back.
Yeah.
Kathleen, by the way, from Loading Red Run, won the game nights.
Good job, Kathleen.
She was great playing some kind of cool Rakdos stuff in like a leather Rakdos dress. It was awesome with like a faux hawk.
Yeah.
A+. Yeah. Overall, what was your experience like at the con itself?
Oh man, it was so cool.
Yeah,
like it was huge. Like you said, it was so great to see so many people. It was so great to see so much great cosplay. Like it was just a nice time.
I feel like 1 in 5 people was cosplaying.
It did feel like 1 in 5 people was cosplaying.
I went over to Artist Alley on the second floor.
I love Artist Alley.
One of my favorite places to be. And I went and bought a ton of merchandise from the Wizards of Barge guy who did like that goblin secret lair.
Yeah.
Do you know the guy I'm talking about? Was selling like magic merch that he made specifically for this event. I got a magic tarot deck from him.
Amazing.
It's very cool. So I loved doing that. I know you went to the merch store.
Oh yeah, I got the Ariette's Apothecary shirt.
Great
shirt, and I got the corduroy hat, which I am big on.
I love the hat. That's my probably my favorite thing that happened.
It was
the
yeah,
hat.
I love it.
I saw Judge Rob. I didn't
see Judge Rob, but I saw many of the Magic Kids people.
Yeah, Magic Kids people were there hanging out. It just seemed like a really good, fun environment with a ton of people there.
Yeah.
So, thumbs up from me for the MagicCon experience. Even though we were sequestered most of the time.
Even though we mostly did not get to big time experience.
Yeah.
We small time experienced it.
We small time experienced it, but we big time experienced the World Championship.
Oh yeah, we did. And I big time experienced it because I did it. I called the world champion.
You did. You called it last episode.
Wow. And like, before the event and everything, we like all of the coverage team put together like their lists of the top 8.
Yeah.
And in one of the meetings, everyone was like, Rich was like calling out people for their picks.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, so Meghan, why did you pick Jean-Emmanuel Duprat? And I was like, because if you want to pick a good Magic player, that's who you pick. Okay,
I'm going to put in a clip of our last episode just to prove to everybody that you did, in fact, pick Jean-Emmanuel Duprat to win the whole thing.
I've thought about this, and you know what? I'm going to go back to one of our standbys who has not had a stellar year in terms of being in the top 8, but had enough of a good year to be playing this event, because of course he has. I'm picking Jean-Emmanuel Duprat. That's my slightly dark horse entry.
It's a good guess. It's certainly a good guess. JED knows how to rock a draft. That's
you know what?
For sure.
Exactly. You know what?
So
that's a good Magic player.
So there you go. Proof positive that Meghan did pick Jean-Emmanuel Duprat and he won. And you won. The only person who has achieved the same feat has been Marshall Sutcliffe picking William Hugh Jensen to win in what was that, 2016 or something?
Yeah, I think so.
So
7 years between calls.
Very well done, everyone.
And do you know what? I'm just going to say,
give it up.
I had a much bigger field to pick from than Marshall did.
You did. There was 105 people. Yeah. Marshall's field was like a 32-player field or whatever.
I want to say 32, yeah.
So, like, get wrecked, Marshall Sutcliffe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Jean-Emmanuel Duprat, if you haven't put it together now, is our world champion.
Is the current world champion now.
Congratulations.
World champion.
We're big JED fans in this house.
Yeah.
Fantastic limited player.
In this house.
Yeah. Fantastic limited player, and limited was very important at this world championship. So proving his limited chops, and of course also brought in the typical JED's fashion, which is now becoming JED fashion, a deck that was old and people had counted out to win the whole thing.
He has done it before. He did it yet again. It was Esper Legends.
Yes, Esper Legends. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that deck. That was from a few tournaments ago. And he was like, few tournaments ago. What about this tournament?
What if I just multiple times win a game by just landing a Shieldred and
saying go,
not letting it die? Here it is. What are you going to do about it?
He's such a nice guy, such a nice human being, that we're big fans of him as well. I took a selfie with him after the tournament because, I don't know, I just felt like...
Delightful.
It felt like it was just only a matter of time before he took down a world championship, in my opinion, or a pro tour. So, So what are you going to do now with your winnings, Meghan, of calling this correctly?
I'm going to brag about it for forever, Maria. Someone was like, what does Meghan get? And I'm like, well, the first thing that I get is never shutting up about it.
Shutting up about it.
Like, never, ever will I ever stop bragging about this. So you all can look forward to that for the rest of your lives.
Absolutely. It was a good tournament. I know some people in our Discord were like, hey, I prefer smaller fields, so I know more of the people right away.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which I do think is fair.
Yeah.
But this gave me some more variety than you would see at a small field tournament as far as decks are concerned.
And also, honestly, once you got to the top 8, or honestly, just in the feature match, you pretty much always knew those people because it was some familiar names and faces doing really well.
Absolutely. So the people who made the top 8, in case you don't know, we had a fabulous top 8 overall with a lot of huge Magic names. Like Reed Duke was the first person to lock it up.
First seed. Yep. Simon Nielsen was
the
next person. Obviously, we had Jean-Emmanuel Depras. Greg Orange was in there.
Minneapolis represent.
Yep. He skipped onto stage in the announcement, and I was like, that is the most emotion times 1,000 that I've ever seen Greg Orange display.
Absolutely.
It was very delightful. Willie Adel.
Welcome back.
I know. Willie Adel has been playing Magic for a very long time, like a staple of Brazil's Magic scene. So really cool to see him in a top 8 here.
Yes, we also had Kazuna Kasaka, who was running Esper Midrange, who had top 16, I want to say, a couple of Pro Tours this year. Yeah. So everybody is like, keep your eye on this kid.
Yeah, he had and also, that's also true of Lorenzo Terlizzi.
Yes.
Who had just been they were like, just so you know, he cashed every Pro Tour that he played this year.
Well, he's 19. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of years left to give good to the game of Magic here. There's a fun story about Terlizzi, too, because we have those two players, Terlizzi and Kasaki, were probably the least well-known in our top 8. He was a player, obviously, on the Italian scene, and he came to his LGS. He started playing when he was 12. And he was like, hey, can you run... This is me doing an impression of a 12-year-old Italian. Hey, can you run a Pro Tour qualifier? I'm not going to try and do it.
Too late. You already did try, Maria.
I am Italian. It's fine. So yeah, can you run a Pro Tour qualifier? I want to qualify. I'm 12 years old. And everybody in the store was like, ha, 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 little kid.
Well, joke's on them.
Joke's on them.
And then there was also Anthony Lee, who is an Australian player.
Yes.
And also a member of Team Handshake.
Yeah. So Team Handshake, once again, putting themselves 2 people here into the top 8. So well done to them and Simon Nielsen and Anthony Lee. I just thought it was an excellent top 8. We had Domain Ramp, we had Golgari Midrange, Esper Legends, Esper Midrange, Bant Control from Greg Orange.
Of course.
Even though he called that deck Greg Pile. Not Bant Control.
That's very funny.
It was a Greg Pile.
Greg Pile. I really enjoyed that deck he used specifically up the beanstalk as a source of card advantage.
Weird.
Which I loved. You just want to be casting big spells anyway, so it was like, hey, what if I just cast big spells and then also just incidentally draw cards off of them?
Would you rather?
Kinda great.
Here's my question. Okay. Would you press this button?
Okay.
You get to have Sphinx's Revelation. Just kidding. But whatever, something like that.
Okay.
Or you can have Up the Beanstalk. You get great card, draw card, or you have Up the Beanstalk that you can do multiple times.
Oh, Sphinx's Revelation. Yeah. What are you saying?
We are all getting ready. What if Greg wins this because the winner gets their face on a card? They get to help design a card.
What if he put his face on put his face in the beanstalk?
I was going to say, he's just going to make Sphinx's Rev again.
Oh, yeah.
But there'll be a little orange in the art somewhere, hidden.
But you have to have a creature, so it would be like Sphinx's Rev on a stick.
So Greg, known for playing control decks, known for wearing orange clothing. And he wore orange Crocs, orange glasses. Played Bant Control, which incidentally was the highest performing deck of the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, he was the only person on it.
Yep.
So, but he went 7-1 in the standard rounds.
That's better than anybody else.
Exactly. 87.5% win rate.
Wow. Incredible.
Next up there was a very cool combo deck there, Maria.
Yes.
Simic Cauldron.
There's somebody playing this in mono blue too.
Yeah.
But basically using Agatha's Cauldron.
Yep.
That's a cauldron.
And just putting counters on all of your creatures. And then I I don't even know how to explain it. You
So
just generate infinite mana, and then you get this red dragon boy.
Yeah.
And then you
bolt their face
and
with
then
it.
you just like use it to
ping.
ping their face till they dead.
Yeah. You put stuff in your graveyard, you mill yourself a bunch, you copy stuff in your graveyard. Agatha's Cauldron gives the ability of all the things that you've exiled from your graveyard or whatever with that have counters on them, the abilities of those cards. So
you like put counters on everything, and then you tap them all for mana, and then you find this dragon.
It's complicated, everybody.
It is, but it was very cool.
Yes.
66.7% win rate.
Wow, really good.
Yeah, although it performed the worst against Esper midrange, which was very popular. So
yeah, that Esper midrange is the most played deck of the weekend, and when you combine that with Esper Legends, it was well and away the most played archetype.
Yeah,
even though a lot of people built those decks pretty differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Simic Cauldron.
Very cool.
You know what? So now we're on the 3-year rotation of Standard. The one of the things I think that they were interested in doing with that big rotation is I'm always talking about like, oh, I want a soldiers deck, I want a vampires deck, which it is included in this, but also combo decks I think is something that benefits from this.
Oh, sick.
So
I agree.
We could see more of that.
I very much hope so. Speaking of soldiers,
yes,
there was a copy in the top 8.
There was
piloted by Simon Nielsen.
I know, and before in our last show, I said I don't think that this can do anything.
I also did not think that it was good, but members of Team Handshake registered it.
They sure did.
Overall we see Azorius Soldiers had a 56.2% win rate.
Okay,
certainly better than some other decks.
Yeah, I mean. This is okay. So this was my misunderstanding of the deck and why I thought it was going to do bad, and then it did a little bit better than we thought.
Yeah.
Simon Nielsen played in the top 8. Said he was very happy with the deck choice for the weekend.
Yeah.
Was he said?
Well, I mean, I think if you make the World Championship top 8, you're probably pretty happy.
It's the point is it's not an aggro deck.
Yeah.
That was how I thought it was an aggro deck. It's a soldier's deck. So yeah, that's what I thought. But he's like, no, it is not. It is a combo deck in that you are putting down a huge threat like your Regal Bunnicorn.
Yeah.
And then you're protecting it with Make Disappear. We wanted to build a deck around Make Disappear specifically and then play it like we're playing this threat and then nothing shall happen to it. And we assemble combo pieces, but we're not all about just swinging for the fences.
Yeah. We also saw it has a Knight Errant of Eos, which is a very cool card, and we see them cast it multiple times with like Zephyr Sentinel as another way to protect their big threats or to just get multiple like triggers off of this Knight Errant or multiple casts. It's 4 and a white for a 4/4 human knight with Convoke. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal up to 2 creature cards with mana value X or less from among them, where X is the number of creatures that convoked Knight Errant of Eos.
Yeah.
Put the revealed cards into your hand, then shuffle.
Great.
Like you just
rebuild your hand.
Keep doing it. And also, like Regal Bunnicorn is only 2 mana. So it's almost always going to be a hit off of this.
Yeah, absolutely. So Soldiers, for me, that's my favorite deck of what we saw the weekend. Kind of keep my eye on. So hopefully with the next couple of sets, we get a few more tools for it. And that's my number 1.
Yeah. We obviously also saw a lot of Domain Ramp, especially in the top 8. Very popular deck. 56.5% win rate.
This deck we saw come to us last Pro Tour in the hands of, I'm forgetting his name. David Olson, and from Canada. And it looked very cool then. Yeah. And here it is doing really well, putting 2 people into the top 8 this weekend. It's not running it's not the Cascade-y. I'm going to put that in quotes. Somebody's like, it's not Cascade Maria. I'm like, okay, thank you. The Cascade in quotes deck that I was talking about last episode, but it's close.
Yep. This is just the one that you are playing 5 colors.
Yep.
It is Domain. You're playing Leyline Binding for 1 mana. This one now does have Up the Beanstalk because essentially, right, like you can you can play a 1 mana Leyline Binding, but it still triggers Up the Beanstalk, which is pretty great.
Thinking about those beans, you know?
Thinking about those beans. It has obviously Atraxa is kind of like the big one. And then it also gets to now add Virtue of Persistence and Locthwain's Scorn, which is very powerful.
Domain Ramp had a 56.5% win percentage overall at the tournament, so did very well too. Your favorite deck, Golgari Midrange, had a 50% win rate.
Yeah, you know what? I still really like it. I don't know what to tell you.
It seems like a great deck.
Yeah, it felt really solid. We saw Anthony Lee make it to the semifinals.
Yes.
He was on that Golgari mid-range deck. I think it's got what it takes.
It seems very good. Somebody had to beat off... I'm not going to say what had to tell Reed not to play this deck with the stick was threatened with Gavin Asif was like, you will not play Golgari Ramp. I will wrap your fingers with a ruler.
Yeah. Yes.
I will not allow it.
Yeah.
And Reed was like, do, 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 do.
But I mean, he also made the top
Yeah, it's
8
fine.
domain, so it's fine. It's fine.
But beat by Golgari Ramp, I should add.
Yes. But in the top 8.
In the top 8.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like 50% feels right for the deck because every matchup feels just like it's 50-50.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's
fair.
Fine.
That's
exactly.
fair.
I'm okay with it. Turns out that right now in standard, I'm at a place where I feel fine about that.
So we had a bunch of different decks represented in this 105-person tournament.
Yeah.
We had, I don't know. It just felt like a good time. There are a lot of draws, which I want to see.
There were so many, and we're not talking intentional draws.
No.
We mean we watched a match, the one that got. Okay, first of all, Willie Adel's story. This is great.
This is a great story.
Because on day 1, he is in the feature match in the last round because it's him versus Yuta Takahashi.
Who's, by the way, playing himself with his cards.
Yes, he has very mastermind. So, Yuta Takahashi and Willie Adel go to time, and they both are at 3-3, so they need this win.
Yes.
To make it to the next day. And if they draw, neither of them
Correct.
wins, and neither of them makes the day 2.
Yeah.
And so Yuta Takahashi at the end of turns is like, okay, do you know what? I like players always do like the I would have won this game kind of negotiation.
Yeah.
And Yuta Takahashi is like, yep, okay. I scooped to you, and so you can move on to day 2.
Yeah.
Which is just like so graceful.
Masterful props.
Yes,
to
absolutely.
Yuta for that.
And so then we see, right, and like usually you're like, okay, you scrape by, like we just saw Willie Adel scrape by into
Correct.
day 2.
Yeah.
And then goes on to top 8 the tournament.
8? Hey, that's the best. That's the best outcome.
Yes, that you could
You
possibly
made good on
ask
that
for.
scoop from Yuta.
Yes, you really did. Right? He was like, you shall not have scooped in vain.
That's great.
But we saw his win and in for the top 8 in round 14. He won 1-0.
Yep, 1-0.
Because they, in fact, never finished game 2.
Yep, accurate. So this is a standard problem. Also a round problem. Our rounds are like 50 minutes.
Yes.
I think maybe they should have been 60 or 55. But like whatever.
You could argue at a smaller tournament like the World Championship, an hour could be acceptable.
You can give them a little more time. But so people playing slower, it's the World Championship. All of that aside, I do think that the number of draws was too high. And so that might be a problem that we're starting to see with the standard environment. So
you could just kind of see it like at the top of the standings. There is always like usually you don't really see anyone in the draw.
No,
like with draws.
there's usually not any at the top of standings.
There were multiples.
Yes. Yeah. Anthony Lee was our leader overnight, but he was not. Okay. People are coming up after me because I didn't say he was undefeated.
Yeah.
But he had a draw. Okay.
Exactly. I got like, I got tisk for saying that Yitze was the last undefeated player when he was 6-0.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, someone else, like other players are undefeated. And I'm like, I will not go down the road where we call players with draws undefeated. Do you know what? You were defeated by the clock, my friend. And that's on you.
It's like, this is what I ended up saying. He has the last undefeated but not unblemished record.
Yes.
That's what I ended up saying.
I think I just said he was the leader overnight.
Well, here's the thing. A draw sometimes is like just as bad as a loss.
Exactly.
So like, but in this case, it was a really weird tournament, so that was not the case.
So it was okay.
Yeah.
But it was... It was,
being technically correct is the best kind of correct. Don't you know that?
I was just like, don't you? Even someone was like, oh, there's other undefeated players, and I was like, don't you freaking come after me about this? I am not here for this debate.
Oh God, yeah. So
if you want to be called undefeated, you win your matches. Anyways.
So standard's a little slow.
Yeah.
That's our takeaway.
It was.
We'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. But it made me excited about Standard. And Huey Jensen came on at the news desk with me to talk about Standard.
Oh, yeah, to talk about kind of like their vision.
Their plan. And he was like, hey, we said we were going to try and revitalize Standard. So what we're going to do is we've made it 3 years, and now we're bringing back of these LGS events, like Store Championship, to kind of incentivize people to play at their LGS. You get a lot of rewards. The RCs are going to be standard ahead of these Pro Tours, and then the first Pro Tour of next year, which would be
Chicago, February.
The Cowboys.
Outlaws of Thunder Junction.
Outlaws of Thunder Junction would be standard. So that's...
I think that's the second one.
Is that the second one?
Yes.
Okay. Well, whatever one that one is, he mentioned was standard.
Great.
And so, they're trying to incentivize from LGS up people playing the standard format.
Great.
So, very excited to see where it goes from here. Draft was also something very important that happened at this Pro Tour.
It was. And mostly we just wanted to look at, like, there was a little bit of, like, surprising statistics.
Yes.
Out of the day one undefeated drafters.
So I'll say that the team spent a lot of time practicing draft.
Yes. Because it was so important.
It was so important. One meeting I heard was more than 6 hours, which sounds like... wow, you've sat in the same room with these people arguing over cards for 6 hours. Sounds exhausting. And then also one team, Team Worldly Council, who has put up good results at a few last Pro Tours, flew in Eduardo Sajglic, who used to do coverage with us, to be their limited master, essentially, and teach them about the format. He did a whole PowerPoint. He showed it to me. It was great.
Wow.
And he's like, a couple of the slides were like secret gold cards. One was Griffin Airy, for instance, which is white, but he's like, that card is not white. That card is green and black.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, because of food tokens, of course.
Wow.
Anyway, it was really cool, everybody. But what ended up happening is the results of the first draft, anyway, kind of went contrary to what a lot of people believed about the format.
Yes. So 12 players win 3-0 in the first draft. Again, there were other technically undefeated players, but they were 2-0-1, and we don't count those. It's 3-0 drafters, my friends.
We'll make our case in court. We'll see you in court.
We'll see you in court.
Undefeated purists? No, we're the purists. I don't know.
So there was a mono white deck.
Unreal.
I know. It technically had a light green splash for the adventure side of Woodland Acolyte.
I knew it.
And that was, one copy of that.
Wow.
That was the green.
Sick.
Same mono black. There was like one copy of the black fairy that has a blue adventure on it.
Sure.
That was it.
Oh, that's mono so black. Cool.
Really cool. Yeah. 2 copies of blue white.
Unreal.
And do you know what, Maria? I will say
Unreal.
that like just yesterday, I drafted a blue white deck in my, new favorite traditional draft queue.
Oh, yes.
And I very nearly 3-0'd with it. Like my first 2 matches were nothing. Like there was at no point at which I felt like I was going to lose the games that I was playing.
What did you draft? What was going on?
What was going on? I don't know what to tell you. I had a lot of the Knight that makes doves.
Oh, and you were actually making birds with that card?
I made so many birds.
Never seen a bird from that card.
I made so many birds that I killed my opponent with them.
Literally never seen a bird.
6 doves in play. It was a lot of doves.
What?
Also because I had multiples. I mean, it helped that I had 2 copies of them.
I've literally never seen a dove. Never.
So it was just I don't know. It was the right confluence of enchantments and then taps. I had the Charade of Numbing Depths.
Okay.
And there was a game where I drew 5 cards off of her.
Jeez.
It was very, very good.
Okay.
And then I ended up losing to a super aggressive red-white deck that went to 3 matches.
Okay.
And they were just that deck was really excellent.
I feel hey, if you're in these, I think what happened here is nobody wanted those colors.
Yeah.
They're the 2 worst colors. It's the worst performing color pair.
And that's how I felt I would go to sideboarding for my blue white deck and look at it and I'd be like, I could literally swap in 5 cards that are also good, right?
Wow.
When I was drafting those colors, they were so open that I ended up with multiple playable cards in those colors.
Yeah.
In my sideboard.
And if you're sitting down at these tables and you're not scared to try and take these colors, I've got to say, it takes a bit of bravery at the World Championship.
Yeah.
You can end up with a couple of 3-0s. Yeah.
There was a red-white, a green-white, a blue-black, a blue-red.
The blue-red one was sick.
Yeah,
that
I
one
did
was
not see
very
it.
good.
A black-red, which was Ely Cassis. A red-green. Like, you'll notice these are only 1 copies of each of these. Red-green.
Yep.
There is notably not a black-green.
Interesting.
Yeah. Then there was a green-white splashing red and a blue-green splashing white.
Something else interesting at this tournament, as far as limited is concerned, is only one player went undefeated across both rounds of draft. Both days of draft. Ely Cassis.
I know. Yeah. And he was not about the drafting a open but maybe suspect color pair.
No, he did the other strategy.
He straight up forced black red, and you know what? He sure did 6-0.
I know. I was so excited. I was like, Ely, what did you do? And he's like, I forced black red. Also, I had a bitter blossom.
Yes. I mean, on one day he had a bitter blossom. On another day, he had an Ashiok.
Okay.
So, like, you know, I guess if you force it and open some really, 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 really good rares, you're going to be okay.
No, he had bitter blossom and Ashiok on the same day.
On the same day? Okay.
Yes, in his second
the other
draft.
day, he had 2 copies of Totentance.
Okay,
so,
well.
You know, life's good.
Wow. Must be nice.
Yeah. I will say day 2, we also got to watch Reed Duke's draft. Like, he wasn't the featured drafter, but we saw a bunch of his draft matches because he was in that pod.
Yes.
And
yeah.
I will, so like.
It was a cool deck.
There were some people who were like, this deck looks bad. And I looked at it and I was like, this deck looks sick.
Those haters were wrong.
Those haters were super wrong because it was an actual blue-green, but like, again, the best version. And he ended up going 3-0 with that deck.
Yes. And blue-green, another archetype that we've said is a real poo-poo platter.
Exactly. But again, if you are the only person maybe in that color pair, you just get some really good cards.
So his deck had one plan, kind of.
Yeah.
Which was to play the 1/3 mana dork.
Yes.
And then
Woodland Fawn.
And then he had multiple Woodland Fawns.
Yes.
And then play.
And also up the Beanstalk.
He had up the Beanstalk. Then play your giant 6/6.
Yes.
And that's
just play multiple 6/6s. We watched him play Fetch Quest, which is the 7 mana sorcery side of the raccoon.
The raccoon.
And just like put a Hamlet Glutton into play.
Hamlet Glutton. Ham ya. Yeah, he had, I don't know how many Hamlet.
3 Hamlet Gluttons.
I think so
which
too.
Which is absurd.
Just ham ya. Get hammed, bro.
Just get hammed.
Is it Easter in here? Because Reed's eating that ham. I've said 2 disturbing things about Reed on this podcast.
Really have. You really have.
Well, that was the World Championship, everybody.
Yeah.
It was a great experience. A very worthy champion in Jean-Emmanuel Duprat, prophesied by Meghan on this show.
Yeah.
Fun draft stuff, fun standard stuff. The con overall was great. Thank you once again to everybody who said hi to us. Thank you. I got a special gift of a shirt. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Aww.
Maybe I'll bring it in if I remember next time to give you a proper shout out. But met some fans from Minneapolis who are wonderful. It was just overall, it was a great time. We got to hang out with our friends from Loading Ready Run.
Yeah, so great.
Went to a party in a penthouse.
Yeah, went to Meow Wolf.
Meow Wolf was great.
All things good.
Had some good Vegas food too along the way. And one of those things was a Snickers ice cream bar, which I don't know if you can count that as a Vegas food. But
that was maybe the best thing I ate the whole weekend.
You just can't beat it.
It is unparalleled.
You can't beat a Snickers ice cream bar.
A Snickers ice cream bar is unreal, honestly. It's so stupid that it's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
If you had a fancy 5, how many stars does the restaurant get? 4, 5, what's most?
I don't know. You know, if you're like a Michelin starred
You're
restaurant.
Michelin starred and you served a Snickers ice cream bar like on the plate, kind of dressed up or whatever, people would be like, oh my God, you've solved dessert.
But also, don't even dress it up. Just unwrap
it and put it.
Throw it on a plate and just be like, here you go.
You could call it like,
you animal.
Like candy bar, like recreation, but it's not. You just unwrap it and put it on the plate.
You just literally unwrap it.
Wow. No, we solved restaurants.
You could make an ice cream cake.
Made out of
Snickers. Like a Snickers ice cream bar ice cream cake. A Snickers ice cream cake. This must exist.
Are you doing it like in layers? And each layer is a different part of the Snickers ice cream bar? I mean, making an ice cream cake sounds hard, but...
Yeah, I guess so. I think you have to like soften the ice cream enough so that you can like spread it on things.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's definitely recipes for Snickers ice cream cakes.
Ooh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't beat it. Got to join it, I guess.
Well, anyways, point is,
the point is,
we spent all this time talking about Snickers ice cream bars. Feels correct.
Everybody, that's this episode of Good Luck High Five. Thank you for coming along on this journey with us to recap MagicCON Vegas and the World Championship.
And talk about Snickers ice cream
bars.
Snickers. Thank you again to new patron Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
Alex ice cream bars.
Yes, absolutely.
Snickers ice cream bars, which is the smartest thing you can do.
Thank you to Card Kingdom. Check them out at cardkingdom.com/GLHF or patreon.com/GLHF if you want to, become a patron.
Yeah,
that's what it does.
It's the best thing to do on that website, and also just the best thing to do. Best thing to do on that website.
There's a lot of stuff that was announced at the con. Upcoming
so much stuff.
So we're going to talk about that next week.
Yes.
Get into all of that cool because there was a lot.
There was a lot.
We'll get into it next week.
Yeah.
And the Upkeep will be back because we got a lot of news to catch up on too. Because we're back now. Yeah. And I got to say, I like the weather better here in Minneapolis.
Yes.
It's full on fall here.
It is raining. Which I like.
Yeah,
it's just nice.
Me too.
It's nice.